Hey everybody, I hope you guys are doing great. So this is going to be the second half of the previous class that we already did here in order to help you guys out, to help you spread your message, and first of all know what that message is, to help you support the world and the collective through your wisdom, but narrowing it down to a practical way that will get you sales and will get you a very, very profitable platform. So to begin, we're going to be continuing pretty much where we left off last time. So please, join us, like this video so that other people can, see it and make sure to participate. Today, the first step that we're going to be talking about is how to turn your message into content. Okay, how to turn that idea, that principle into compelling content for your audience. So once you have nailed down a message that feels true to you, a very unapologetic message, or even just like a few key points, like it doesn't have to be like the full thing, and you feel prepared to start sharing the essence of the message, then it's time to turn it into, tangible content, right? It's not an idea anymore, it's becoming a blog post or an Instagram post. Your message is like the backbone of your content, but each piece of content doesn't need to explicitly state your message. I hope that I'm explaining myself properly here. It goes along, with your message, but it's not a same post about your message all the time, the same thing, right? It should, however, always tie back in some way to your message, but it will be a different representation or angle or resource for your audience that, yes, connects to your message, but is not just your message. So let's say, for example, let's say a business with a light worker who encourages women to create courses alongside, let's say, their high-end kind of like coaching packages and things like that. You may, this person may create content kind of like in different like categories. So the first one can be, their story, right? Her personal story, how everything unfolded, what she can share about her life that would help others. Another category could be how to, right? Educational contents that, teach audience how to do something that you know how to do. Another category could be inspirational content, right? Things that inspire, things that move, things that help your audience feel in connection to their own desires. Maybe even advice too. That could be an additional category, advice. That can sort of overlap with the how-to, right? But you can see how these are different categories, different infusions of your message, right? And it's important to keep this in mind. All good content will have a lesson or realization or something that your audience can use. That's the whole point of it. We're not aiming to just put stuff out there for the sake of it. We want our content to mean something. So producing valuable content is what will attract people to you, the right kind of people to you too. So, make it worth it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste other people's time. Make sure that your content has an impact, has not only your message, right, but a very practical way to utilize that message for your audience. So how do you decide what you want to share? This is honestly up to you guys. Like, get creative while using your best judgment, pretty much. You don't have to use your social media as a diary or a way to like work out your stuff. Some people do, if they find it poetic, if they find it, a way to inspire others. But it doesn't have to be that way. If you're using your platform to pretty much get therapy for yourself, like find a therapist and leave that out, right? Like the content that you're supposed to be doing is not supposed to be for you. It's supposed to be for those who need it, right? Instead, share your business stories or your light working stories or whatever it may be, the realizations, the lessons that you have learned as a result. These are just way more useful and valuable than any kind of like personal drama. Now, we can use our stories, yes, to talk about certain other things, as long as they are beneficial to our audience. but not just for the sake of venting, if that makes sense. Writing compelling content means writing content that gets read. Okay, so let's break down how to do that, how to make sure that the content that you're spending so much time doing is not just falling on empty ears or whatever. So the first thing to do would be to pick a topic that you care about, something that really means something to you. That's what this whole, unshakable message thing is about, honestly. This means going back to your message and what you truly believe in, what you stand for, what you stand against. Tapping into that kind of like juicy center. And choose a topic that's tugging at your heartstrings, something that is relevant for you at the moment, something that you feel a connection to. You can use also writing prompts, that could kind of like bring that to the surface within you if you like. In the program Unshakable, we have tons of those. So that is definitely through questioning. It's going to bring a lot of clarity to you. So much clarity to you guys. So, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. It will be in the description box below. As far as your message goes, not only something that really moves you, you can be controversial. Use words that you'd actually use if you were talking to someone face to face. You guys know that I curse my way around life like nobody's business, Don't try to sound like someone else. Don't try to sound professional or flawless or experienced or glamorous or entrepreneurial. Just be you, okay? Just say it as it is. If you're talking to your best friend, how would you say it? Now, of course, it has to have a little bit of a filter. You're not gonna, say some like fucked up things, right? I don't know what you're saying. You'll know what you can say, and you'll know what is like, I shouldn't even be saying that in my mind. Okay? Don't over edit. Writing, without minimal editing usually allows our most authentic thoughts to flow. And that's a good thing. So start by just writing. And don't worry about the editing. Don't worry about the words you use or the punctuation or anything like that. First, write your message. And once you have that done, then shift into correcting anything that needs to be corrected. Because that's what allows the flow. Say what you want to say and then, go back and refine it. Change the words, change the order of the ideas. But initially, just pour it all out. And that's how you're going to guarantee that the whole message comes out. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of paused by every word and everything, making sure that it's fine. Make sure that you're creating kind of like a captivating headline as well. That is very important. This is just kind of like that first, like the title of your post, that first line in your post, in your email, in your YouTube video, right? You see these all the time. The most important thing here, honestly, the most important things truly are this. What are you actually saying? Does it sound like everybody else, or does it sound like you? Is it something that will grab someone's attention? Not someone's, but the right person's attention, right? We have defined a little bit more about why this is so important, to target people that you want to serve and not just trying to appeal to everybody, right? So you can see that in the previous class. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, it's in my channel alongside the other videos. Also, spike their curiosity, make them think, I need to know more, or I want to know more. I want to know more about what this is, or I have to know how this story ends, or I have to know if I have the answer to that, It's kind of like finishing the sentence for you. Headlines like that are very, very useful. And ask yourself, like, are you sugarcoating your ideas? Are you sugarcoating them out of fear? Out of fear of offending someone? Everything can be communicated, okay? Everything can be communicated properly. So you don't have to censor yourself. You just have to know how to stand behind your message. And when you know what your message is, that's when the magic happens. If your answer is, yes to any of these last questions, you're sugarcoating. Go back to the drawing board. make some changes. Make sure that you're being authentic. Be sure that you're not just kind of like parroting someone else's message because maybe they received a great success or great feedback and you're copying them. There's no problem in getting inspired by other people, but ultimately you have to be yourself. You have to bring your flavor, your energy to it in order to attract the people that will resonate with you, not necessarily that other person. So also check like how is your voice coming through? Like, do you sound excited? Um, are you excited? Like, are you thrilled to read your message before you post it? Or does it feel off? That is something that's key. When you are doing something that is authentic and real to you, you can feel it. It's almost like I can't wait to post this. I can't wait for everybody to see it. I can't wait because you're so excited. That's always a good sign that you're doing things right in alignment and authenticity. And there's also practical ways too to make your posts and all of that, stand out. Capitalizing, right? We see that on the YouTube tarot sphere a lot. How to make them more appealing, emojis or compelling words, images that appeal to your ideal client or the person that you're aiming to serve, right? If you're looking for people who practice or want to learn Reiki, of course, use images that would be appealing to a Reiki practitioner, right? Or someone interested. You're not going to use some kind of like race car or some bullshit because it has nothing to do. So just, put yourself in the shoes of your ideal client and see the post through their eyes. And know that even when you're crystal clear on your message and you love it, there will still be days when you just don't feel like creating content. And this doesn't mean that you're not being authentic. This doesn't mean that you are not tapped into the truth of your message. It could be because you're tired, or it could be because you are, a little bored, or kind of like you need a creative rejuvenation. You need a little bit of a break. Maybe you're trying too hard to please or to get a particular result and you're getting frustrated. The energy maybe is feeling a little off. So when this happens, I always recommend take a little bit of time off and just, get back to it when you feel more connected to it. These things happen to everyone, and, don't let that mean anything or deter you from continuing to share, because it's not a signal that things are going wrong. It's just a natural part of the process. Take a day off, don't create any content or disconnect from that particular platform you're using or social media, social media platform that you're using. Maybe tap into another form of content. See if it flows for you better in that way. If you are completely anti creating content that day, that's fine. Do something else. That's all right. You don't have to be a little machine. These have to come with inspiration. Also, try your best to avoid worrying about the vanity metrics. You don't need 1 million followers. You only need engaged followers. I always say, like, let's say you have 20 people. Put 20 people in a room rooting for you. That's a lot of people. Numbers can be so empty in social media. We're like, that person just has 1 million followers. Like, that's so basic. And it's like, dude, put like 1 million people in the same place. Like, fuck, that's a lot of people. So you don't need to have those numbers. You just need to be able to connect with the people that do feel attracted to your message. Pretty much. It doesn't have to be like, your success does not have to be represented by likes, by subscribers or followers, necessarily by even like money coming in. Of course, we all want those things, and those things will come in due time depending on how you're, developing your platform. But ultimately, if you're in this particular class, there is a component here of service and of mission. Otherwise, you would find just any other kind of like business coach that will tell you how to, or tech, dude that will help you how to get subscribers or followers or tell you how to buy them or whatever the fuck they do. So if you're doing this with me, it's about purpose and service and about mission. So Try to focus on those metrics. Have someone told you they liked the post. Have someone told you that they really got help from the post, that they feel better after reading it. Things like that are way more valuable. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And remember that a smaller but like really engaged list or group or tribe is more profitable than a super large unmotivated list. Experiment with your content. See what works. Some things are just not going to get any traction, even if you really feel drawn to them, and that's okay. Try another thing. Try another thing. Try another thing. And evaluate what your audience responds to. For me, I did all of these tarot readings for all signs, and I could see that the Pisces community was just so active. And my channel is smaller, almost smaller than every single channel, I think, that does readings for every sign. But you guys are different to me. Like, this is more valuable to me. Even if I don't grow as much, the growth that is there is, to me, absolutely priceless. And that's what I just want to sort of like give a little bit of perspective to you about. So next, I'm going to share with you how you can make really powerful posts by having a polarizing message. So, people are dying for fresh perspectives. And honestly, it feels like everything is already made, It's great when we find something that we've never heard before, something inspirational, something that's a new idea, and that doesn't fall into this repetitive thing that we hear every day about everything. And the main reason so much content gets lost online is because people are saying the same thing as everyone else. Find every single person who's a law of attraction coach or has something like that, as their platform. They're all saying the same thing, every single one of them. And if one of them stands out, it's probably because of their unique perspective on the subject. So say what you really want to say, not what's like the watered down version, socially acceptable thing that you hear all around. This is why turning your viewpoints and your opinions into actual content is the best way to attract the right people into your sphere. Not do content for the sake of doing content, but instead try to be understood too. Like, express what you really believe in through this content, and you may realize there's a lot of people who were dying to have their desires articulated for them. Maybe they didn't even know they felt like that. When they read your post, it's like, yes. And one way to stand out from, other light workers in your sphere is to create, as I said, polarizing content. Instead of going with the flow, take a stand for something. Maybe dare to say something that other light workers are not ready to accept or say themselves. That happened to me very strongly when I decided to just express that I don't need to be perfect and holier than thou and all of those, things in order to be an effective, force of good. Many, many people were outraged by this. Like, oh my God, oh my goodness. Like, you can't be a light worker and drink wine. You can't be a light worker and eat meat. And everybody's different. You know what I mean? So that may have, triggered some people, but it also attracted a lot of people who wanted to say that and didn't really feel brave enough because they were going to be judged. So it's kind of like a parallel that I'm inviting you to look for. And, that could be in your industry, or that could be in regards to the world or whatever is happening in the world. Now, we're not going to go around just making drama for drama's sake either. It has to have a purpose and serve your collective, serve your group, your tribe. And I mean, for sure, this type of content is going to be more eye-catching, but let it be eye-catching for the right reasons. You know what I mean? It's more interesting to hear something authentic than just a copy-paste of everything every other person or people are saying. So this will also help you create a deeper connection and an authentic connection, which they get to know you. They get to really know what you think, what you feel. And that's where the magic happens. And, conflict and tension are important parts of, like, storytelling. They're not something that we need to avoid at all cost. When was the last time you watched a movie where everyone sat around, loving their lives for 2 hours? Conflict, tension, change, plot twist is not only natural, but it's interesting, It teaches us about life. And it definitely like spices up your content for sure. But remember to have it be something of service, Don't just share drama for drama's sake, but instead to, kind of like show your point that you believe beneficial for those who support you. We also have, as humans, kind of like an inclination to almost, be more interested in like controversial things for whatever reason. And we all know that everybody seems to market from that, monetize from that, right? And clickbait, gossip magazines, celebrity shit, like all sorts of controversial stuff capture attention, okay, more than other things. Now, we can use this for a benefit. It doesn't have to be something that ends up making the world busier with shitty perspectives. This could instead be something that we can do to elevate the frequency if we use the principle. Your audience is going to feel like you're speaking the words that they're afraid to say. And you can become that spokesperson for not only what you believe in, but also give the people that follow you a voice to be heard, whether they are in agreement to you or not. By bringing something that's polarizing, you may receive comments that share a different perspective than yours. And it doesn't have to be, of course, it doesn't have to be like mean or something that you're saying just for you. You don't have to give any kind of like call out to anybody or engage in like cancel culture. That's not what I'm saying here, okay? It's definitely not about tearing people down. Definitely. If anything, the opposite, okay? At the end of the day, if your intentions are to help people and you're a good person, it's not about being superior or derogatory. You know what I mean? Polarizing content can be just, about writing content that's like, okay, I see this happening. This is the situation in front of me. I don't like it. Here's why I don't like it. And this is what I think should change. Or this is what you can do to prevent this from happening to you. Or something along those lines. It doesn't have to be about tearing anything or anyone down. It doesn't have to come into that kind of energy. On the contrary, you want to serve your tribe. So kind of like dumping this whole bad vibe, venting on them is definitely not what they need. Some people are going through very hard things. I think everybody is in one way or another. And allow your space to be uplifting, to be a space of feeling better, but not censoring or ignoring what's going on, but ultimately be something that helps. So how can you come up with this kind of thing? How can you tap into this type of content, make this kind of content easily? Keep a running list of ideas. When ideas or thoughts just naturally come to you throughout the day, maybe you're in the coffee store and something catches your attention, just write it down. Even if it's on your phone or something. You're going to find inspiration all over if you're looking for it. There's this app, Evernote, that syncs kind of like, it syncs with everything. Like if you have a Rocketbook notebook, it syncs with your phone and with your drive and with your computer. There's all sorts of apps like this. Even just like a little note thing on your phone, that will be just fine. And just look around and write things down. Think back to the things that you stand for. Okay, in this program, we're definitely going to go deep into that, and you're going to get a lot of clarity. And even if you don't join the program, still, think back to the things that you stand for and what you stand against. Discover that within yourself if you're not aware of that. What stories from your past help you to form these values that you have now? You don't need to apologize for real life experiences you had. maybe things that affected your worldview. These are all components of what makes you you. And these are components that give you a voice that is different from the next person. And that's why it is so valuable. That's the whole point of this. I don't know if I'm like expressing myself properly here. Maybe what's going on in your industry that you strongly agree with or disagree with. Not to tear everybody down and create mayhem, but just to bring it to people's attention and see how they feel, see how they think, if they agree, if they disagree. Your viewpoint might be what's needed to change something in the industry that people are craving to change but haven't really acknowledged or understood for themselves. Maybe when you bring it up, it's like, oh my God, yes. And everybody agrees with you and there's a movement, there's a change. That could happen. And it requires you to be in your throne, right? In order to be able to do that. You need to be comfortable enough to know that your voice has power and it can change things. And it doesn't have to be loud and gross. It can be very serene and powerful and authentic. So, let's work on not being afraid to offend people. The truth is, everybody will get offended whether you follow certain guidelines or not. There's always going to be someone that gets triggered for whatever reason, and you have no control over this. All you can do is show up in the best way that you know how, and do it in a respectful way, in an elegant way, in a way that is authentic to you, and hope for the best, okay, pretty much. This can be so hard, if you've been trained to be nice and kind all the time in every possible way. Polarizing content is not meant to demean others. That's the key here. It's meant to separate you from the group in which everybody's saying the same thing and infuse your tribe with a better understanding of who you are and how you perceive things and how you feel would be a good way to approach certain aspects of your industry or life or whatever it may be. So it is supposed to be uplifting, and you don't need to censor yourself in order to be polite. But you don't have to be rude. You know what I mean? It's like that point of balance in which you can be like, hey, you know what? I don't like this. Fuck this. This could change. This could be better. Would you like change in this area? Would you join me in this change? It doesn't have to be a whole rant showing all of your trigger nerves exposed by everything. You don't need to expose your entire shadow by getting super upset about what this person said or did. Just extract the goodness from the message and express it authentically, but, classy, in a classy way. I don't know. You tell me. So with this, we're going to be wrapping up today's class. I invite you to check out the Unshakable program. All of these classes that I'm creating are based on that program. And you will not believe how powerful your social media presence is going to be once you kind of go through this process. I will take you handheld through the whole step by step, and by the end of the program, that is very simple. You can start today at home, just $47. At the end of the program, you'll be able to express yourself, not only in social media, but in your relationships, in your job, in your partnerships, in such a refreshing, authentic way. You're going to be able to communicate your needs, communicate your boundaries in ways that are respectful but strong. So check that program out. It is in the description box below. You're not going to regret it. I love you guys, and thank you for joining me today. Bye.